We have a lot to talk about tonight, and I am just so thrilled to see so many familiar faces.
Sandy.
Hello to Hazel, Sasha. Oh, maybe it's just Sasha. Hi, Sasha. Hello, hello. Sophia Elliott is in the house. Hello, Shelly. This is amazing. Oh, goodness. This is so cool. Okay. All right. Well, everyone, we're going to get started in just a moment. I'd like to hop into things and begin with a little preview of our evening together. So we're going to do just that. And I am thrilled to have you all with us on this journey. So I just love all the hellos. Everybody's waving every time someone else comes in. Someone says hi. Yeah. I love it. Lots of energy in the chat. Amazing, amazing, amazing. Okay, so here we go. I am going to get into things right now. Tonight's night is all about looking into 2024, looking ahead to the new year and talking about what this could mean for you and what this could mean for your family. So let me see here, letting people in still. We have a waiting room issue here. People should be able to get in. Okay, great. All right, friends. So let me go ahead and get started. So I want to say a giant welcome to everyone. I am so happy to see some familiar faces and some new faces. And just from the bottom of my heart, a giant welcome. If we have met before, hello and welcome back. If we have not met before, my name is Mr. Sam and I'm the director of Young Scholars Academy. And in the next hour and change, we are going to come together and we're going to meet incredible mentors. We're going to discover one-of-a-kind courses that are sure to excite you and your kiddo beyond belief. And I do mean that, by the way. Our goal is to make classes that parents are so jealous of. And speaking of parent classes, I have a little announcement later. We're going to be plunging headfirst into community, and we are going to explore some incredible events, including, very excited to say, the one and only Sophia Elliott, who is here right now. Hi, Sophia, who's tuning in from Australia and is up at super hours of the morning. I appreciate you being here. So Sophia's going to come and talk to our community very soon, as well as a bunch of other amazing experts in our gifted and neurodivergent and twice exceptional space. So lots to look forward to. So without further ado, let me get my screen share going here, everyone. Let's get to it. Okay, so this is going to be a really special night, and I am going to make you one big promise, which is tonight you are going to meet people who get you and who you get. You're going to meet your people, and you're going to find your space. You're going to take a seat at our little campfire here, and you're going to have one heck of a time. So let's get to the good stuff. All right, here's a little preview of what we're going to do. We're going to explore these classes. We're going to meet mentors, and then you're going to have about 10 minutes. I promise, Mr. Salch, we're going to have about 10 minutes to go into breakout rooms and meet with those mentors. So all of the people that you hear from tonight are going to open up their doors to you, and you'll have the opportunity to go and meet with them. Speaking of this whole idea of community and meeting and connecting, if you know someone who ought to be here, you know someone who you're like, they would just totally benefit from this, and maybe they forgot, or maybe they don't know about Young Scholars Academy, this is a great opportunity to spread the word. So if you know someone who you think really ought to be here right now, if you could pretty please with sugar on top, just take a moment and you can share the invite that got you here with them. So if you're able to take a second and do that, if some person comes to mind, it could be like generally on your Facebook page, or it could be someone in particular that you're hoping to talk with. But if you know someone who needs to be here, please help them get here. They'll thank you later, I promise. Okay, with that being said, let's keep going. So last thing I want to say before we move on is this. I know, and anyone who knows me and anyone who comes to these talks before knows, I always say this, but there's a lot fighting for your attention right now. There's phones and notifications and smartwatches and all that stuff. And I just want to ask you, because Sandy's like, yes, there are. There's a lot of things that are fighting for your attention. And I want to just ask you to do me a favor and try to minus as much of that stuff as you can. Try to put as much of those distractions away and try to be as present here as possible. You're going to hear from amazing mentors, and then you're going to meet with them. You're going to meet amazing families, and then you're going to be able to connect with them. And so I want to ask you to try to put all of our distractions away, or as much as possible. Can we do that? Is that okay? Okay, so let's keep going. Last showcase, last open house, I mentioned something which I really wanted to kind of pick back up. When I talked about Professor Xavier and X-Men, right? We were talking about this idea of this school for the gifted youngsters that Professor Xavier creates in X-Men. Instead of focusing on what people are not doing right, Professor Xavier said, I want to build this place that can help our young people build their superpowers, right? And that was the big focus of our talk last time. This time around, I'd like to build upon that, right? Because the hard truth is that for a lot of us, we're focusing on the things that we maybe don't do well. We're focusing on our struggles, and it's not our fault. A lot of us, attention has been focused on the places where we struggle because that's kind of what happens in our education system. And that's what happens in our society, that there can be a great deal of attention on the things that we need to bring up from the bottom rather than the way we can raise our roof. And I'd like to just tell you that this is deeply personal for me. Creating this school, creating this Professor Xavier type school to help people build their superpowers and become superheroes is deeply personal for me, because when I was younger, I spent a lot of time thinking that I was dumb, that there was something wrong with me. It took me forever to read. I couldn't do well in school, and I always struggled to get caught up. And to do so, I would stay up very late and sacrifice my weekends and my social life because I just wanted to try. I thought I could just work really hard and I could get better at reading despite being dyslexic, or I could just work really hard and I could just pay attention despite having ADHD. And I developed this really negative like talk track in my head, which, to be honest, is still something that I still wrestle with today. Actually, Sophia, Ellie, and I were talking a little while ago about some of the ways that these things stay with us for a lifetime. And as long as I can remember, I always wanted to do more, but I always felt this kind of limiting, shrinking belief. I always wanted to do more. I always wanted to help people. I wanted to be a mentor. I wanted to be someone who could help people. And as early as kindergarten, one of my kindergarten report, the teacher said, like, Sam's really good at finding people's areas where they're struggling and then helping them. And Sam always has solutions for things. But I spent so much of my life like not being able to do that because I was trying to do all the other stuff that I was being told I had to get better at, like reading, turning in homework, and those kinds of things. The thing is that on my road, I almost gave up. Right on, there were so many times where I felt like this little peg here, where I just felt totally ostracized. I felt like I just didn't fit into the system. And there were so many times when it was just really, really tough for me. And I just didn't know what to do. And it wasn't until I met these different mentors that I was able to focus on my dream. I knew that I wanted to help people, and I knew that I wanted to lead people and help lead them to their best lives, their best versions of themselves. And it wasn't until I met people who helped me kind of level up. And there were three people. Number one, my ninth grade English teacher. Number two, a college professor in my education program. And number three, a good friend of mine. His name's Jimmy. In ninth grade, I went into English class and I was in the lowest class that you could take because I struggled. I had dyslexia and all these things that were challenging. And I always thought that I was just not a reader. I was not good at school, and that was just my fate. I was just not smart. In fact, I used other words like stupid. And I had this teacher and he held me back on the first day, and I thought, here we go again, I'm in trouble. And Mr. Dunphy was his name. He held me back and he took me aside and said, what are you doing here? You're wasting your time. And I thought, oh, I'm in trouble again. And he said, you're wasting your time. You should be in a higher class. This class is beneath you. You're far too smart to be here. You're wasting your time and you're wasting mine. And it shocked me. I mean, I get goosebumps now 30 years later. And it was the first time that someone actually pushed me to be better in something that I thought that I wasn't very good at. And I said, well, I struggle to read and all these things. And he said, do you know the difference between a student and a pupil? And I said, no. And he said, a student is someone who comes to school and then stays and does something bigger than just studying. A pupil comes to school and goes home when the bells ring. Which ones do you want to be? I said, well, I want to be a student. And he said, all right, take a better class. And that was it. And later on in my life, I went to college because Mr. Dunphy believed in me. I went to college and I said, I want to be a history teacher. And I almost gave up. I could not do the reading. I could not keep up with 100 pages a night. I just struggled to read. And I thought, I'm too stupid. I can't teach people. I don't belong leading other people and teaching people because I don't even know the stuff. And Mr. Buxton, my college advisor, called me into his office. He said, Mr. Young, what are you doing here? And I said, I don't know. I'm just thinking I'm going to be like a philosophy major, or it's just something that doesn't put me in front of other people necessarily. I'm really scared. And he said, you have what you can't teach. You can learn history, but you have an inspiration. You have a fire in you that helps other people want to be better. You can't teach that in college. You can't learn that in a book. You have a superpower and you're focusing on your super struggle. Take your superpower and help other people find theirs. So I did. I went to school and I worked really hard and I became a history teacher. And then one more point, I thought, okay, I want to do more than just be in one classroom. I want to create a school. And I had this really deep doubt, I'm not good enough. It's not going to make sense. I can't do it. And I had a friend of mine who said, you're a mentor. I don't know why you're looking for everything else. You're trying all these different things that don't fit, but you're a mentor. You're meant to lead people, and you need to create a place where other people, other mentors can lead people. Something that's bigger than just you, something that's bigger than one classroom, a place that has multiple. I don't know what it looks like, but it's going to be something bigger. And that was the three moments that I met someone. I met someone who held out their hand so I could get higher. Someone who held me on a level that I couldn't reach myself. And there was one other thing that changed my life, and I want to share this with you, everyone, really quickly, which is really these three people are the reason that I founded Young Scholars Academy and this book. There's this book called The Big Leap that I read years ago, and it truly changed my life. Mr. Dunphy, Mr. Buxton, and Jimmy got me to believe in myself. And then this book helped me to understand myself. And this book is called The Big Leap. And it helped me realize that there are, by the way, I want to point out the meta thing where earlier I thought I couldn't read a book and then I just switched to audiobooks. Okay, that's it. I wasn't just magically cured. I realized I just need to intake information differently because I am smart. And I just struggle with the way I'm trying. I keep trying the same thing, hitting the wall, backing up, hitting the wall. Instead, what if I listen to a book? And then all of a sudden, bang, now I read a book a month. But that wasn't until I was 32 that I even started that. When I read this book, it made me realize that I had spent most of my life in one of these four zones. The author of this book is a brilliant author. His name is Gay Hendricks. He wrote this book called The Big Leap. And in the book, he says that there are four zones that people live in, right? And I would be willing to bet some of you parents and adults and some of you kiddos might be spending most of your life in the wrong zone. And that's simply the problem. That's simply the challenge. In the book, he says that we have these four zones: the zone of incompetence, competence, excellence, and genius. And most of us spend our whole lives in one of these areas where it's not our strength, but we just keep beating ourselves up to be better, right? This isn't the thing that I'm necessarily shining at. As Dr. Joseph Renzulli said, no one cares about Einstein's ability to do anything else but do incredibly complex math and STEM. So why do we care about his ability to do reading or taxes or gymnastics? We don't, right? So why do we do that to ourselves? The goal here is to go from our zone of incompetence, which is the area where we can do things, but maybe not as well as others, to an area where we have special, unique gifts. We're positioned to serve people and we're full. We feel good. This is the thing that maybe you love to do, whether it's write a book or create a blog or start a community or have a podcast or teach people or share your passion or build with Legos, whatever it is. It's the thing that fills you up, that other people see light in you and they're inspired by you. And that's one of the reasons that Young Scholars Academy was created. It was to help people get mentors just like I had, so that you don't have to struggle the way that I did. And it's to help our kiddos go from, instead of comparing themselves and living in the struggle place, to help them figure out what is their zone of genius. And better yet, meet a bunch of people who have a similar one so they can have friends. And that is one of the most important things that we do here at Young Scholars Academy. So with that said, I want to invite you tonight to join us, meet all of these amazing mentors, connect with all of these fantabulous mentors and families, and find an amazing place in our little community. And let me just quickly tell you what we've got going on. This is a lot. There's a lot of new and exciting stuff. We have 3 new mentors who are here for you to meet tonight. We have 8 new classes, including one that we've been working on for 3 years. We have parent classes, by the way, for the first time ever, which I'm thrilled. We have a Dungeons and Dragons class for parents. Super excited about that. We've also listened. A lot of families have said we want longer classes. 8 weeks isn't enough. And although they all continue for up to a year, we want stability. We want to be able to guarantee that our kiddos can stay. So we've created 16, 24, and even 30-week classes. Additionally, I want to let you all know that we have this amazing Black Friday, what am I saying? This amazing early bird special that's going to be ending this Friday. So our courses are 15% off right now. And we have so much else going on, but I want to get to the good stuff. So let us move right along here. I want to turn it over to our amazing mentors, and I want to ask you all a question, everyone. Before I pass it over, we're going to look at our humanities courses. We're going to look at our life skill and art courses. We're then going to go to our social courses, and we are going to finally end with our STEAM courses and hear from some different families in between all along the way. Is everybody ready to get started? Can we go meet some other people who are way cooler than I am? Okay, let's do it. So everyone, tonight we're going to turn it over to, first we're going to start with Megan, who's going to be talking about her amazing Dungeons and Dragons and very new class, Dungeons and Dragons Campaign Creator and our D&D Parent course. So Megan, let me turn it over to you.
Hello. I am so excited for what's to come here. I am Megan Hardy. I do Dungeons and Dragons. I love Dungeons and Dragons. I have been DMing students for over 5 years now, and it's just an amazing experience to watch kids form these social bonds and have these adventures. And Dungeons and Dragons is just fun. You get to fight dragons, or in many cases, find dragon babies. That happened earlier today. In the class right before this, they found an egg and returned it. It's adventure, it's creativity. They get to have control over their character. it's just fun. And these kids form such bonds as groups. They tend to stick together. And I absolutely love it. I am really, really excited about the new stuff I'm doing. The first one, Solly was talking about it earlier. The Dungeons and Dragons campaign writing. We are going to create an adventure as a group. It's a real skill. We a special style of writing for it. We come up with monsters and creatures. We design our own encounters, figure out challenge levels. So there's a mechanical aspect, but then there's a real creative aspect to it. And the group's going to work together. You come up with something that then other people in the YSA community could play. So what they produce is going to be available, and we can kind of really have fun with this. And it's RPG writing is huge right now, and it's fun. And the kids kind of do it anyways. Like I was kind of saying, they'll come up with their ideas and they want to add this, and this is just kind of teach them how to do it and put it together. And we'll have a start to finish adventure that anybody could play. So I'm really excited about that. The other thing I'm excited about that Sam mentioned is I am going to be offering a parents D&D game. I can hear parents in the background sometimes, like, "Oh, are you doing that?" Or I hear a lot of stories of, "Well, when my dad was playing, he fought this." I get a lot of parent stories about what they like from kids of how their parents played, and this is a chance for YSA parents who enjoy playing or want to learn how to play, because your kids are always saying, "Play a D&D game with me." You can kind of come in and do an adventure from start to finish. And it will be, I will guide you through it, or if you already know it, you come in with the characters that you love, and we will have a blast together. Um, my kids will always kind of be pulling at me to play and run a game for them. And so, like, this time you can say, "Yeah, I can do that. I know what you're doing." And it's not strange when your kids say, "Can we catapult a goblin?" And you'll know what they mean by that. Anyways, but I'm really excited about both of these and just kind of keeping up with all of it. Um, there are just so many skills that Dungeons and Dragons provides. I mentioned the social skills, creative thinking, um, and it's also a space where you just are like, you can't mess it up. You just have fun playing a game, and so there's not a wrong thing when you're role playing and things like that. So I really encourage everybody to join us for more dragon fighting and things of that nature, or spider taming, or all the friends that you can make. I think Archie got a baby owlbear today. There's lots of fun things that happen.
Thank you so much, Megan. Just a quick
Yeah.
highlight, everyone. So the D&D classes that we already run are continuing. We're now offering longer sections so kids can keep the cohort together and go on longer quests. Again, we have 18-week options now and even longer, 24 weeks. Additionally, as Megan's saying, we have this incredible class. Our kids like to create, right? So why have them just be a part of a creative journey? Why not give them the space to create something that's so authentic they can actually have their friends test it and try it? And so we've created something which is going to be reciprocal creation, right? Allowing them to build something that they can share with their friends and their classmates. And we're now inviting parents in. This is a big part of this kind of next stage of YSA, which is having community for you adults, to have you come sit around the campfire and be part of the virtual village. So yes, it's open to total beginners and returners, just like all of our D&D classes are. So we're super excited about this big D&D build out, and parents, I hope to see you on a quest soon. Thank you so much, Megan. I appreciate you. I know that you may have to run soon because we have another quest speaking of, so feel free to take off whenever you need to. All right. We are now going to turn it over to one of our Amy's. We have, I mentioned there's 3 teachers with the name of Amy now here at Young Scholars Academy. So we're going to turn it over to Amy Huber, who's going to be joining me teaching debate now, running her own debate classes here at Young Scholars Academy and taking over our creative writing program. So I'm super excited to introduce Amy.
Hi, I'm Amy. This is Benny. He is pretty much always wherever I am. So he's a creeper. Say hi, Ben. I'm Amy. I am a teacher of 17 years. I am a lot like a lot of the teachers that you're hearing about that got burnt out. Like the standards and the mess that public education has gotten itself into just is super stressful, especially for people who are neurodivergent. And so I wanted to find a place that I could do exactly what Sam was talking about, and that's teach to my strengths and teach to the kids' strengths and interests and things that they like to do, and see if we can get them up to that genius level and not worry about, are they going to score advanced on a test? And so that's the reason why I'm teaching the courses that I'm teaching. I fell in here completely by accident, interviewing for a different position. And then she said, hey, I know a place that would be really good for you. And so I'm super excited to be here. I work with gifted kids in brick and mortar school still part-time, and now I'm here. So I'm going to be starting with the debate course. As Sam said, I am going to be doing 2 different sections, a beginner's course and a returner's course. But my beginner's course, we're looking at having 2 sections, one for younger beginners and then one for older beginners. So then that way, some of the older kids that feel like, oh, I didn't get started with debate in time, I don't want to be in there with the younger kids. We're going to have a beginner class, but for geared more towards our older kids. I think it's 13 to 16-year-olds or something like that. And so I'm super excited about that. In debate, it's more than just arguing, right? Although all of our kids love to argue, I love to argue. So we will do a lot of real critical thinking type debates, like off the top of our head type debates. But then we're also going to be teaching them some really valuable skills as far as, writing and critical thinking and, all that good stuff. And so I think that debate is just one of those courses that not only helps with our school subjects as far as like our writing skills and things like that, but it also helps internally with like that social development and kind of creating that speech and debate community and working together and debating against each other and learning those social skills and things like that. So I'm super excited about debate. I've taken multiple teams to debate competitions. And so I've done debate for 6 or 7 years in brick and mortar school. This will be the first time that I'm getting to teach it online. And I'm super excited to see the diversity of students from all over debating with each other. And then the other course that I'm going to be teaching is creative writing, but it's specifically geared towards non-writers. So especially if you have someone, or if you are here and you are someone who does not like to write, and you think of writing as being like a chore and something that you have to do just because, mom said you have to do it. That's the opposite of what this class is going to be. So this class is all about fun and creating like that confidence in our writing skills. And so we're going to be playing writing games. They can write about pretty much whatever they want. We're going to work on more of those social skills, like sharing stories and things like that. But it's really going to help get the creativity from wherever it is deep down and bring it out and make the kids feel like they don't have to. It's a safe space for them to be able to share their writing and not be judged and things like that. And so super excited about both the courses, super excited to be here at YSA. And yeah, I think that's all.
Thank you so much, Amy. Yeah, Amy is really coming in because we've gotten to a point where we have more debate classes than we can teach. And so to make sure we can serve everybody and meet everybody's needs, we've decided to expand the program. So we're going to have more debate. We know debate leads to our kiddos building confidence, doing things that are really authentic that they probably can't find anywhere else, right? Weighing in on topics that they might think a great deal about. And it helps students who are maybe reluctant writers or perhaps even nervous speakers organize their thinking, right? We know our kids are so brilliant, but they often struggle to articulate their brilliance because their brain is moving perhaps faster than their mouth or hand can. And debate gives them frameworks where they can take their thoughts and organize them and build confidence around that. So they can not only become really active speakers, writers, but also listeners. And that's one of the most important things. And our creative writing class, the amazing Jackson is taking a semester off. And so Amy stepped up and is continuing our creative writing. So if you've taken creative writing at YSA before, it's going to be a continuation of that amazing class. Okay, thank you so very much. We're going to actually turn it over. We're going to jump ahead a little bit. I had some videos from Nelson and Nicole who couldn't be here tonight, but I'm going to just, I think, move ahead so we can make sure we get to everybody. So I'm going to jump ahead and call on Sully and Brad as one of our first families to weigh in and tell us a little bit about your experience at Young Scholars Academy. Hey there, Sully.
Sorry, it's the video. It's cutting one of us out. The background is cutting.
That's okay. One of you can fade forward and the other person backward, and you can alternate gas and brakes.
Yeah,
So,
I think we're just gonna get closer to the center of the camera whenever we're talking.
well, that sounds good. Well, Sully, since you're talking already, why don't I start with you, buddy? Would you mind telling us a little bit about your experience here? I believe you put together a little something to say.
Yeah, we sort of had a little bit of a plan, but
Why don't you tell them about how YSA is impacted?
Yeah.
I'm gonna do that's why I say I'm just gonna skip to the second question because
Sure, buddy.
this is
So
how
tell us how Young Scholars Academy has positively impacted you. Why don't we do that?
Well, the Dungeons and Dragons, or D&D for short, course allows me to learn and experience critical thinking, creative and communal storytelling, mathematics and statistics, which I'll talk about in a moment, social peer group interactions, and
Sully, can I interrupt you for 1 second? Can you slow down a little bit, because that brilliant mouth of yours is going a little faster than my ears can handle. Can you start from the top?
That.
That's okay. You're doing a great job.
The Dungeons and Dragons course allows me to learn and experience critical thinking, creative and communal storytelling, mathematics and statistics, social peer group interactions, and serious fun.
Can I brag about you for a second, Sully, and tell everyone what just happened in debate this week?
Okay, sure.
Will that embarrass you, or is that okay?
No, this is exciting. This
Okay.
is exciting, but very scary for a moment.
So Sully is on a team. What kind of debate are we doing, Sully?
Let's see. We're doing public forum, except it's also sort of a spar.
We're doing a public forum debate, and Sully came in the other day with just a stellar speech, and he was going to be the cleanup speaker. He was going to do the final focus, the summary speech, and his speech was so good. I said, you have to lead your team. And so Sully got promoted from a later speaker to the beginning, and now he's leading the team. He's the first speaker and is going to be putting together a whole entire case. And what's our topic again?
Let's see. Okay, our topic is the cash bail system just?
Is the cash bail system just?
By the way, I'm 10. I know I look older. I know I look older and bigger because I'm physically a very large human being, but
And I am just so excited. Yeah, as Sully points out, a 10-year-old debating if the cash bail system is just, and it's going to be incredible. Sully, I want to ask a quick question. Are there any moments at Young Scholars Academy that have stood out to you? Anything that have been highlights for you, buddy?
there's a bunch of them which we had to literally edit during there's a few of them. So one time in the Dungeons and Dragons class, I got in my opinion, the coolest item ever. Sometimes we do treasure hoards where we each get a magic item. And one time I got a ring of water walking. Sadly, I never got to. Sadly, it was the very end of the 8 weeks, but still, it was cool. Also, I am so excited about the new Create Your Own Campaign course. Also, with Anna, I mentioned Miss Anna. I mentioned this earlier, which complete misunderstanding. I thought that she was friends with one of my teachers in a different platform, for a few classes in a row, I literally delivered messages sort of back and forth between them. I thought they were friends up until right now when I realized they weren't.
Those are great highlights.
Being bumped up to the first one in debate was pretty amazing.
Those are great highlights. And Sully, before the meeting started, before we turn over to Brad, Sully was saying, I looked at all the new courses and I said, I want that, I want that, I want that, I want that. And I just thought that's so amazing because you just are so excited about everything that's going on. So Sully, thank you so much for sharing, and thank you for being one of our villagers. I appreciate you, buddy.
So excited. It was so exciting that all of those that let's sign up for that right now. All of that repetition, literal vocal repetition in a row was all for one class. For one class, I'm so excited about it.
I love that, buddy. Well, thank you so much, Sully. We're so lucky to have you in all the classes that we do. And you did a great job tonight, by the way. Brad, if I could turn it over to you and just ask you, as a parent, as Sully's amazing parent of an amazing kiddo, um, you know, I'd like to ask you a little bit about what was life like before YSA? Maybe how have things changed since you've been with us for over a year now, almost 2 years, I think.
Yeah, almost 2 years now. So we've been homeschooling since even like before the pandemic, when that, it kind of people were doing that for kind of temporary measures. We've been doing it before and since, and are planning to continue. So we've gone through a lot of different online platforms, homeschooling groups and technologies. Some better than others. Some have worked to kind of like you said earlier, like working towards people's strengths, which is fantastic. With YSA, one of the things that we found is a lot of places talk about like individualized learning plans and adjusting the course material to fit the student without as much follow-up, right? That's it's easy to say that. It's very difficult to do that when you have even small groups, right? 6, 8, 10 students in a room. One of the things about YSA that we really love is we feel like we kind of get that kind of participation and support, which is particularly important for twice exceptional learners. So you can challenge them to do more, and as long as you support them in that endeavor, they're going to be successful, and that breeds confidence, right? That breeds the desire to learn more, the thirst for knowledge. Like it's you're building a foundation and then scaffolding up on that foundation if the support is there. And that's one of the things we're really happy with YSA is, I never, as a 10-year-old, I never would have been debating the cash bail system. Like that's just not something that traditional schooling is going to put you and say, hey, at 10 years old, you can do the research and learn about this topic and figure these things out. But with YSA, like you said, we're super proud he got bumped to first because he had done the research, really worked hard to take that on.
Sorry, but we had someone unmute by accident, Brad. That's brilliant.
No.
I appreciate that. Yeah, that authenticity is so important, and helping our kids like Sully and everyone, as you said, twice exceptional kids are complex, and so much of the world focuses on remediating struggles rather than developing strengths and gifts. And I appreciate that you appreciate that. Can I ask you how has being in this community impacted, Sully impacted your family?
I think, so in a number of ways, it's nice because it's not like a lot of traditional classes where he does class afterwards, maybe he has homework, maybe he doesn't, and then we're off to the next week. He obviously he loves Megan's D&D courses, right? As a nerdy kid growing up, I played D&D with my friends many years ago. So we use that, and once again, we're using that as a foundation to do all these things. So we made a whole hockey-based D&D campaign, all about ice hockey, for my friend from Canada. And Sully helped build that. And so he's having to learn storytelling, but you're having to work as part of a team. You have to learn a little bit about statistics and probabilities and math in order to make sure that things aren't too difficult or too easy, right? Somebody throws you a curveball, so you have to think on your feet, so you have critical thinking. So there's those types of interactions that extends beyond the classroom into things that we, when he and I, we jump on our bikes and we'll go for a bike ride, and we might talk about something like a D&D campaign for like an hour, which some people might say, oh, like that's cute or fun, or it's great that you're having time, but we're actually building on lots of academic areas while we're, developing, getting closer and bonding over something like Dungeons and Dragons, for example, which is really cool. So
I think that's amazing. And again, I say this all the time until I'm blue in the face, and I'll say it again for posterity. When we let go of how we want things to happen and we start looking to see where they might be happening, it's exactly what Brad's saying. Our kids playing D&D, they're maybe in a leadership role, they're problem solving, they're thinking on their feet, they're scripting ahead to some extent, but having to flex and compromise with a team to accomplish a task. And I think that's such a beautiful thing that Brad, that you're able to see. And I'm thankful that our courses can kind of be like a little spark that lights that fire for you too.
Oh, we love it.
So thank you so much. Thank you, Brad. And thank you, Sully, for sharing tonight. I appreciate you both so much.
Thank you.
We're so
I've
lucky.
literally been down here sitting on the lower area of my chair this whole time.
To give your dad a spotlight. You're so sweet. Well, thank you both so very much. I appreciate it. we are going to jump ahead, everyone. We've just heard from one of our amazing families here at Young Scholars Academy, and I am just buzzing based on that. I've been thinking about the place where, again, where we can help our kids focus on the things that they're good at and truly individualize it and meet them where they are, rather than just treat everyone the same and remediate. Our kids deserve to be debating things like the cash bail system if their brains crave it and they're interested in it, right? And when you make it authentic, this is the big A word that I always use, not just a busy worksheet, but something that matters. Sully's debating next week, right? Sorry to stress you out, Sully, but it's real. And that means that he's going to rise to the occasion, right? With the right supports and the right everything. And that's exactly what YSA is all about. Authenticity. Megan's creating D&D campaigns. Why? So kids can play them and impress their friends and impress other adults. All right. So I always like to spot these trends throughout the night. I appreciate you so much. Let us keep moving on. We're going to go into our life skills and art classes. And I want to turn it over to another Amy, our Amy B, our very own Amy B. And Amy is going to be sharing with you a class that I have in the background been working on for 3 years, and Amy has been able to complete. I am so excited to share this with you tonight and offer it to you all in our community. And Amy's going to be talking about our new fellowship class, our digital art class, and our visual storytelling / narrative design class. So Amy, let me turn it over to you. Thank you so very much.
Thank you for the warm introduction. Hi, folks. I'm Amy Bechtel. This is Lou. She was complaining, so now she's in my lap so that she complains less. I have the pleasure and privilege of teaching now 3 classes with Young Scholars Academy. And I'm going to do the same thing that I do because I'm autistic. When I go through a meal, I start with the thing that I feel is like most vegetables and I finish on dessert. So I love all of my classes, but I do have an internal level of excitement in describing things. So first of all, I teach our digital art class, which is a technical design class where we go through things like in Photoshop, how to manipulate images, how to photo bash, which is combining 2 or more photographic images together, how to manage layers, how to generate patterns, design with text, create graphic design, create illustration. It's a whole lot of the how to use these tools on that end. And I walk students through it because I know it sounds like a lot. We go step by step. It's a really comfortable pace, I can reassure you. My students do survive that class and go on to make some really cool and weird and wonderful things. The other class that I've already taught with Young Scholars, but I'm teaching again, is our visual storytelling class. We're renaming narrative design so that you understand the goal of this class, because this is the art of how stories that are visual in nature, so things like animations and films and video games and comic books, communicate with their audiences on a narrative and emotional level. So it's all about teaching you honestly how to emotionally manipulate your audience more effectively, because that is the goal of stories, is to make people feel things, because we all feel things, and stories are sort of our boats. If every man is an island, stories are the ships that we send to one another across that ocean that divides us and allows us to connect. So this is about building better boats. Is my metaphor making sense still? I hope so. But that's what narrative design is all about, creating characters and worlds that amplify and intensify the stories that we tell to each other so that we can communicate more effectively and more meaningfully. The last class that I'm teaching, and this is the one that Sam and I have been collaborating a little bit on in the background, I'm very excited about, is our fellowship program. And this is a course where you actually get to write the curriculum. If you have something that you want to learn, that you dream of being able to accomplish, this is the space where I'll act as a mentor and guide you through the process of teaching yourself that material. And I've mentored students in the past who have done wild things: build submarines, write scripts for films, publish their own books. So this is going to be specifically around the arts and humanities. If you're a history nerd, if you're a storyteller, if you're an illustrator, if you're a songwriter, I can help you to create something that really matters to you. And what's really neat about this is that at the end, when you walk away with your awesome product, we're going to be having a Young Scholars Symposium where your work is going to be shared with a wider audience so that we can all come together and celebrate your accomplishments. So I'm already looking forward to the symposium, Sam, and we haven't even started the planning yet for the students.
I am so excited for that, Amy. Thank you so much. Let me just recap everybody, because there's a lot there that Amy is covering. One is our very popular digital art class, which Amy has really started like a mini cult because they now have memes and jokes and things that I don't even understand. You have to be on the inside, I guess. But I did love the rock on the face of the rock that we saw at the showcase. That was hilarious. Number two is we have the visual storytelling, right? So this is a narrative design class helping students understand things like the hero's journey. And I literally just got off the phone today with a mom who said that her son has not, Amy shared a worksheet last week, and her son has not stopped writing since then, that he's just unlocked this like framework and he's written endless stories in between. And I think, Amy, you were saying you shared one in the class and you were absolutely floored with it. That is so incredible. And then number three, the big one, and this is the secret reveal here, is this Young Scholars Fellowship. This is a personal project class where kids can come together and work on the things that they want, the things that they dream of. When you talk about like authenticity, like Brad was talking about earlier, the things that our kids care about, this is a place, this is a fellowship, a workshop where they can work on the things that they want and have an expert like Amy mentor them, help them accomplish, break it down into different stages. What's the end goal? How are we going to get there? Understanding backward and making milestones and getting resources. I mean, this is whether a kid wants to do any of the things that she mentioned. This is one of the most exciting things that I think we can offer right now, which is true passion-led, inquiry-based learning and guided by a mentor, as we say, a guide on the side rather than a sage on the stage. And so I'm really excited. By the way, that's from Dr. Susan Baum. I didn't invent that. I wish I did. I'm not that clever. But I'm really, really excited about that class, and I think it's just going to be truly life-changing. How many of us want to have like an idea that we have, and we just don't have enough time to get it done? Having a space where we can do that is going to be so incredible. I saw a lot of hands raised right there. Yeah, having a place to build your podcast or launch your website or create something that might change a climate initiative in another country or whatever it might be. So we are so fortunate for that. Okay, I'm going to keep it moving, everyone. You are all brilliant. Thank you so much, Amy B. We're going to go over to our other Amy. We have three Amy's now. We're going to go over to Amy L, who is going to be telling us a little bit about one of our other new exciting classes. Again, we have 8 new classes, and Amy's going to be telling us about our philosophy class. And we are thrilled about that one. So Amy, let me turn it over to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I'm pretty excited. This is my first time teaching with young scholars, but not my first time teaching. I've been teaching philosophy to just about every age group for almost 30 years. I can't believe those words are coming out of my mouth because they've flown by. And I've been focusing on teaching it to young thinkers, 18 and younger for the last 15 years. I'm an educator, obviously. I'm also a writer, and I am a philosopher. I actually make my living and, spend most of my days doing philosophy. I'm a public philosopher. So I'm not in the academy. I'm in this academy, but I'm not in universities or that sort of thing anymore. But I teach people outside of the academy, people outside of universities and colleges, all about philosophy. And when I tell people I'm a philosopher, I get raised eyebrows because not everybody knows what philosophy actually is. So I thought maybe I'd give like a 30-second description. And what is philosophy is like the ultimate philosophy question. So we're getting really meta here. But philosophy is basically the practice of asking huge questions, the biggest questions ever, the questions that people have been asking since we became people. So thousands and thousands of years all around the world, everyone's been asking these. And if you're a parent or a caregiver, you get them all the time. That's what young people do, especially when they're really small, is they ask big questions. So we ask big questions in philosophy, but we also learn how to talk about them in a way that's inclusive and reasonable and peaceful, and where everybody gets to share and all kinds of new ideas are welcomed. So if you think philosophy sounds like something that is meant for children, it totally is. My very favorite people to do philosophy with are young people. I think they're better at it than adults. Please don't tell any of the adults in the philosophy community that, but they're much better at bringing their own ideas, being creative, not being afraid to ask why and sort of dig underneath things. So I'm really excited to be doing 3 different age groups of philosophy for young scholars. It's going to be a blast. It was meant for kids. It was meant for everybody. And philosophy can be about play too. A lot of people think that these big questions have to be serious. No, you can put philosophy into anything you like. You can put it into sports. You can put it into cooking. You can put it into art or your favorite TV show. So I'm really excited to be doing this. And we're going to be playing our way through these big ideas. We're going to be building critical thinking skills. We're going to think creatively. We're going to invite all different perspectives because philosophy works so much better when you've got people who are really willing to, bring other new ideas in. But I hope you'll pop into to the breakout room so we can talk more about this because philosophers love talking about philosophy. And yeah, I spend my days teaching philosophy to all kinds of different people. I spend my days writing about it, producing all kinds of stuff to support inquiry through philosophy. But I'm really excited. I think this is going to be it's a great way to start out at Young Scholars, and I can't wait to meet some of your young thinkers.
Thank you so much, Amy. And yes, our kids are in this incredibly brilliant phase, right, where they have these plastic brains that are always changing and shaping, and they have big questions. And the worst thing that we can do is give big brains with big questions simple answers, right? So if we brush them off, we just stop the growth. And what we're doing here is we're asking bigger, harder questions and having them hopefully fire back with even bigger and harder questions, right? So this ability to come together, I say this all the time, but I'm a firm believer in one of the reasons YSA exists is that kids should not have to wait until they're in university to take interesting, dynamic classes, right? We should not have to wait until we're in our 20s to start learning. The reality is that it's more important exponentially so when we do it younger. So having philosophy for 5-year-olds is something that's so, so important. Speaking of things that we should not have to wait for, I want to quickly speak. And Brandon, I want to see you. If you're still here, buddy, I want to check in and see if you're still here. I'm going to.
Yeah,
Yay.
I
Okay.
have you.
This was not planned, but I'm going to call Brandon in a moment here. I have a class that's one of our most popular classes, which is called Young and Thriving Executive Function Secrets. And the whole goal behind this class is that it wasn't until I was in graduate school that I even knew what executive function systems were. I just thought I'm struggling with work, therefore there must be something wrong with me. And it wasn't until I realized that there were all of these different systems that were complex, task management and capturing ideas and putting them in priority order and using timers and things to increase dopamine in my brain to help me focus, or studying by teaching other people. All of these different things weren't even on my radar. I just thought, I can't do this, so there's something wrong. And this class has existed because over my 20 plus years in the space, I figured out a bunch of secrets that have helped me succeed. And I have the students build systems based on their own experiences. So Brandon, totally unplanned. I appreciate you being here. Can I just ask you, buddy, what Brandon side messaged me and said he wants to talk tonight? So I say yes. Brandon, will you tell me a little bit about what's going on in Young and Thriving and what you're enjoying about it?
Yeah,
Your system, your task system, and your habit stack?
yeah. I'm getting pretty used to my habit stacking now. I can get more prepared. Like, if I have like a lot of stuff, I can be like, oh, I'm gonna do stuff first, and then I'm gonna do stuff next, and like it goes on.
Can you tell us about what a habit stack even is and how you're doing it?
Yeah, so in habit stack is like before, like after before I do this or after I do this, I will like do this.
So what's an example of something that you want to do more of before this class, and how is a habit stack helping you? And but everyone, just so you know, habit stacking is an idea that comes out of James Clear's book, Atomic Habits. And the idea is that if you want to do something real bad, it's usually not going to work out very well. But if you want to do something and you attach it to something that's already happening, there's already a neural pathway there. If I drink coffee every day and I want to put on sunscreen, well, I just put the sunscreen next to my coffee maker, and while I make the coffee, I put on the sunscreen, right? I've thought ahead for future me and set myself up. The kids are doing that with their own task management systems that they've built. So Brandon, let's take 2 steps back. Can you remind us, what is your task management system? What are like those 3 steps to doing work that we want to do? And then how are you habit stacking?
So 3 steps, like first you want like capture like what you want to do, like capture stuff like they might want to do daily or weekly or even monthly or even yearly. And then next we're going to do you do daily planning, and then finally you do weekly and monthly planning.
So you capture the ideas that you have and all the ideas, homework, assignments, chores, things like that. We dump it out. We put it in order. We maybe use different systems like a must, should, want, or an Eisenhower matrix or whatever makes sense for our brain. And then we make a daily plan and we try to get after it. And Brandon, how is the habit stack helping you use your new system and get things done?
Now the habit stack making my new system. Now I can study before the test, and now I can get a better grade than normal. Like if I study before a test, I might get an A or a B, but if I don't study, I might get an F.
And Brandon, you mentioned previously that it's also helped you start to make things that you want to do, like if even a passion project, like reviewing things like public transit that you're really passionate about, or reviewing your notes from tests and things like that. And so it sounds like this has been really a game changer for you, buddy.
Yeah, huge
Well,
changer for me.
I am so grateful that you are here. And I have to say, Brandon's mom emailed me once and said, I've never seen this happen before, but my son's actually fighting to continue in a class because he wants to keep going. And Brandon, I am so happy that you did that and that you're staying in Young and Thriving. And I'm so
Yes,
happy that you're here tonight, buddy. Thank you so much.
you're very welcome.
This was such a pleasant surprise. So there you go, everyone. You know, I don't believe that we should throw an agenda book at everybody and tell them to write their homework down and then get mad at them when it's not working. You know, we all benefit from building a Frankenstein system. We're all different. So the kids reflect on how their brains work, what's going to help them the most, and then they build a system in accordance to their preferences. And that's exactly what Brandon's done. And Brandon, would you mind telling everyone how old you are?
I'm 12 and a half.
Brandon's 12 and a half and has built this incredible system. So kudos to you, Brandon. I'm so proud of you, buddy. That was such a nice treat. Thank you, Brandon. Okay, amazing. Wow, we have some cool kids here. Okay, I want to turn it over to another new amazing mentor who's just joined our team. And this is a course that I've wanted to teach for a long time. And we finally found the right mentor. So I'm thrilled to turn it over to Katie, who's going to be teaching our Songwriting 101 class. Welcome, Katie.
Hi, everybody. Hello. My name is Katie, and I will be teaching Songwriting 101. I'm so excited to join the Young Scholars Village. This is a program that I wish I had when I was a child. It's amazing what you guys are doing here. I'm so excited to join the family. So I've taught music ed and songwriting both virtually and in one-on-one music lessons with so many different kids for over 5 years. And I know firsthand that all kids have a unique point of view. Everybody has a unique point of view. So we'll be exploring these points of view through songwriting and helping kids learn about themselves by doing so. In the class, the kids will learn the art of songwriting through a lot of different methods, including, but not limited to, GarageBand composition, lyrical analysis, learning about poetic devices, learning about making beats, music history, so much more. I think the more tools that they have in their tool belt to create a song, the better. But the big meaty part of the class is by the end of it, the students will have a fully polished song that is uniquely theirs. Whoa. And they can be proud of it. It will be fully unique, and each person in the class will be able to share that song. And I'm super excited to go on that journey with you guys. I am a songwriter myself, if you couldn't tell, and I believe the journey is deeply personal and rewarding, and I love going on it. I see it as an adventure every time I try to write a song. And that being said, the class is not limited to experienced musicians. It can be expert musicians who probably play piano way better than me, or people who have never picked up an instrument. The art of songwriting is for everybody, and we can all make a song that fits our levels and what we already know. I am a twice exceptional person / former student myself. And for me, songwriting has not only been a way for me to express myself creatively and learn about myself, my emotions, but a big part of it for me, probably the biggest part, that people wouldn't think when they think of songwriting, is that it's a challenge. I see it as this ever evolving game that I keep challenging myself to make something better and better, or throw in a few more poetic devices or alliterations. It's just something that's always evolving. And I've written songs across all genres. I've worked with opera singers and rappers and very diverse genres. So that being said, I would never want to put a student in a box. And, you know, if they want to write a song closer to a Taylor Swift song or a Post Malone song or EDM or, you know, metal, whatever they are into, we can make that work under the courses that we'll be taking. I think as songwriters, we're always pushing ourselves to do more, and the stories that can be told are infinite. So this will allow kids to really get to know themselves and think about their world differently. I'm sure a lot of you already think about the world in a very infinite, beautiful way, but it's just something that has allowed me to really not only understand myself better, but also accept my world and myself better. It's taught me a lot of confidence and a lot of self-acceptance, and I think that's something that every person can use. One thing that I was taught when I was a child was some of the best musicians growing up were also, I mean, maybe they didn't have formal diagnoses back then like I did, but they were twice exceptional too. I know Beethoven, for example, he was turned away from a lot of formal music schools. A lot of these teachers told him to his face that he's too nonconformist. If you can imagine that, he's like the classical musician. He was too experimental for that. And, you know, now if you think of musicians, that's one of the biggest musicians of all time. A lot of the greats, David Bowie, Kurt Cobain, Kendrick Lamar, are these people that have stepped outside the boxes. And for me, as a twice exceptional person, that's something that I was already doing. And through songwriting, it's a gift. It's a gift that we can do that. And it's great to think outside the box and then create your own box and then break down that box and then put your different tools into creating whatever path you want to creating your whole song. So I'm super excited to meet all of you guys, and feel free to join the breakout room if you have any other questions. And thank you guys so much for listening.
Katie, thank you so much. You can see everyone, like, this is deeply personal work for so many of our mentors, whether it's someone who identifies as twice exceptional or neurodivergent themselves, whether we're parents of 2E kiddos and we're mentoring others as well, because we've seen, you know, our children go on the journey. It's work that really is more than just a job, right? This is very much people who are committed to being a part of this village, of being the village elders, the people that are not you but can help parent your child, and that is something that's near and dear. So thank you so much, Katie. I have never considered songwriting in my life, and just heard from you, and I'm like, I'll try that out. You can see the passion here, and we know our kids have that passion. Giving them a place that's creative, that's stimulating, and where they can belong and connect with other kiddos is so invaluable. So thank you truly so much. We have other art teachers who could not be here tonight, so I just want to say quickly, we also have our improv class that has been going long and strong for over 2 years at Young Scholars Academy, and after that we have our theater class, which is going to be putting on a new play this semester. By the way, our big play is coming up in 2 weeks. If parents want to come check that out, I'll send out a reminder. Shout out to people who are here in the play. I see some smiles, Luca and Sandy and others. So I'm really excited about that. So our theater program and our improv program are going strong. We just don't have the lovely Miss Jackson here tonight. So with that being said, I'd like to turn it now over quickly to our social classes. So we're going to go meet quickly with Jolene and hear about our Minecraft class. And then we're going to go over to Miss Anna and hear about her homeroom. And then we're going to hear from a kiddo and go into our STEAM classes. So please do stick around, everyone. We have those breakout sessions. Again, teachers are here. You're going to be able to ask them the questions that you have. If you've been thinking of or hearing or something, you're going to be able to stick around. So please do sit tight. Let me turn it over to Jolene, who's going to be telling us about Minecraft and our lovely Minecraft program.
Hey there, I'm Jolene. And yeah, this Young Scholars Academy is a village for us mentor educators as well. And these open house meetings, it's just like my heart is so full. And because I get to work with these amazing kiddos and I have these amazing colleagues, and that is something where, you know, a lot of the times where things that I didn't feel I fit in, I look around and we've all had that same experience, and we fit in together and create this incredible platform. I love it so much. So I do have a master's degree. I have multiple active teaching certifications, taught for 20 years, and I have pivoted to homeschooling my own kiddo. I am neurodivergent. My kiddo is too, and my kiddo is a Young Scholars Academy kiddo. And so I am deeply invested in our village, and I teach Minecraft classes. In case you don't tell the background, or the creeper shirt. I walk it, I talk it. It's yes, it is a part of me. And Minecraft is amazing. Like, I made a list of, because sometimes I just talk off my mind, and then I go, what did I even just say? So I made a list about what Minecraft benefits kiddos, because if you have a child who is Minecrafting, then you might say, why? What is this offering? Because it is offering this incredible space of open sandbox for creativity, for critical thinking, problem solving, completely STEAM learning, spatial skills, resilience and adaptability, perseverance, self-determination of setting your own goals and having that achievement. And in the Minecraft Create, yeah, I saw Sandy give away over there. And in our Create course, because I am offering two different ones. One's called Create, Minecraft Create. Thing is, often learners are playing in survival. So just know that survival players are welcome there. It is a wide open door. Any edition of Minecraft, we are not in server. We don't need to worry about all that tech stuff. Your kiddo is able to play in their world and create in their world, and it's wide open door. Any edition, any preferred game mode, any preferred difficulty, all are welcome, whatever skill level. We have had someone, a learner, first day in Minecraft in class, and was like, what's this? What's this? What's this? And we were just collaborating together and problem solving together. And we do that every single time. And we celebrate each other's achievements. And so that's the Create one. And then I also offer Minecraft Chemistry, which is a way, if you're in Bedrock or Education Edition, we are creating completely new items using the periodic table of elements, creating compounds, chemical reactions in our own games, and it's non-modded. This is something we can do exactly with what we have if you have Bedrock Edition or Education Edition. And so, and then we're sharing. So we get these new items, and then we get to create using them. We do observations, experiments. It's really, really exciting because there is so much educational value in Minecraft in general. And then with the chemistry, we're adding in all of those, and it's really fun. So I look forward to it. I'm so excited, and I'm excited about all the offerings for my own kiddo too. So thank you so much, everybody.
Thank you, Jolene. Thank you so much. And a big shout out. A lot of our mentors are sick right now. I feel like everybody's sick right now. So thank you so much. I know some of us are under the weather, and I just so appreciate you all showing out and showing up. Jolene's amazing classes have become some of the most popular, top 2 most popular classes here at YSA, because it's a club of belonging, right? Because it's a place where kids can come together and explore things that they love, that they're interested in. We're seeing a lot of love from Sandy right now, and they can connect around it, right? Whether they've been in it for years or they've not, and they're completely new. It's like a place where they can come together and just kind of geek out over things that they're really interested in, and try and take risks and experiment. And I just see that social space that so many parents are longing for happening in Minecraft in spades. So thank you so much, Jolene. I appreciate it. Both the Minecraft chemistry class blows my mind, by the way. The grasp of periodic table in that class is more impressive than my chemistry class in college. And the ability to just go into the Create class and share and survive and do all that stuff. So amazing. Thank you. Speaking of socializing, everyone, I want to turn it over to the amazing Miss Anna, who is going to be representing our homeroom social clubs. Those of you who are members here already know everybody that enrolls in at least 2 classes at Young Scholars Academy gets a free homeroom social club. We are a social program, and we believe that just like if you went to a brick and mortar school and you got a homeroom, you should get a social homeroom here at YSA. So everybody that enrolls in two classes gets a social club. If you don't take that many classes, you can just sign up for one. We actually have a lot of people who just take social club, and that's a thing too. So Miss Anna, let me turn it over to you. Anna's one of our two amazing mentors in the homeroom social club space.
Thank you. Hey, everybody. Thanks so much for that wonderful welcome. And I see you, Sandy, Kelvin, Archie, Luca, Sully, all my friends. It's good to see your sweet faces and everyone else's. Yeah, so our homeroom social club is really what it sounds like. It's a place where the kids who take classes on YSA can come together, get to know each other better, and really just form meaningful connections and friendships. I often refer to it as our friendship club because that's really what we're doing there. We're forming friendships, and there's kids finding other kids with the same unique and quirky passions that they have, and it's a beautiful thing to watch. If you don't mind me sharing my screen, Mr. Sam, I think I'm set up to do that. Oops. I hope. Yep. A lot of things that we do in our social club. A lot of things we do in our. Oh, I'm so sorry. Okay, a lot of things we do in our social club are really driven by the kids' passions. A lot of kids love to discuss D&D and Miss Megan, Minecraft. Miss Jolene gets shout outs all the time. We have kids who often want to talk about Pokemon and Mario. Just all the things that kids are into, and of course a lot of unique things like cubing and art, graphic design, and we kind of try to encourage the kids to really follow their passions and their interests in the clubs. Me and Miss Nicole, who leads it for the older kiddos, we both really try to let the kids drive their interests or their interests drive the class in the direction we go in. We also play games, activities, trivia, and just really have a good time. It's also a really great place to go ahead and help the kids practice their socialization and learn important socialization skills as well while having fun.
Thank you so much, Anna. This has really become one of the pillars of our program, which is that the kids have a place that they belong to, and it's kind of interdisciplinary, right? They might going to delve into interest areas like some of the courses you've heard of already, but they also have a place that's kind of interdisciplinary, that's just social, where they can come together no matter what they're interested in and share and connect. And sometimes they'll play games, other times they'll put on a little presentation about something that they're working on, and it's just a place for them to kind of brag, belong, be a part of. And it's an incredible thing. It's grown beyond my dreams, and so I'm super thankful to Anna and Miss Anna and Joe. Nicole, who's not here right now. So thank you so much, Anna.
Of course.
Thank you. We saw a lot of people get really excited when you were speaking, so I think that speaks for itself if anyone's watching the cameras right now. All right, so we are going to keep it moving, everyone. We have just wrapped up our social classes, and we're going to move over to a kiddo that I would like everyone to hear from. And by the way, Ace, I'm sorry if I'm calling you a kiddo. You're older. So Ace, thank you so much for coming and speaking tonight and being here. I so appreciate you. Hello. Welcome. Ace, I want to ask you a couple questions, bud. Would you mind starting off by telling us what YSA classes you're taking right now?
I am taking AP Psychology with Mr. Sam, and I'm also taking D&D with
Megan just left, so you're not going to see her
Megan.
in the class right now. Ace, let me ask you, how has your time here at Young Scholars Academy positively impacted you? What would you say it's done in terms of shaping your days, your weeks, your life, etc.?
Well, for D&D, it's really helped me look forward to D&D because it's a lot of social interaction and playing with people, which I don't normally get to do very often. And with AP Psychology, it's just very fun, and it helps me it just feels very good to be in the class and talk with you.
Well, thank you. I feel the same, by the way. It's so nice. I think that we have so many people who are looking for something like AP Psychology, where they can come together and, talk about something with great depth, with college level depth. Are there any standout moments for you, Bud? Are there any things that you kind of pop in your memory when you think about your Young Scholars Academy classes or your time here? I've been putting
there's a moment I just like as soon as you said that I just forgot what it was.
Okay. I've been working really hard because you had a practice test recently on a Saturday. You hung out with me for your AP practice test, and you've been cramming notes, and we're learning study skills. Let me ask you maybe a different question, unless something comes to mind.
Actually, I think I do. I think so in their D&D group recently, or not, I don't think this is recently, but our group got attacked by, or our group, we found some goblins. They were going to attack us, but I was able to speak goblin, so I talked with them, and I got them on our side. And then we left for a little bit, and now they became like a street gang. And so, yeah.
I didn't see that coming. Fun. I did not see that coming.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that is fantastic. I think that when the D&D class checks in, it's like, what's going on with your week? And they're like, oh man, we just survived a lot. We have been through it. So it's so funny to hear what's happening in that class. Like, not all time is equal. Like, your hour and a half in D&D is so different from my hour and a half on a regular Wednesday. Ace, I want to ask you one last question, Bud, and I appreciate you being here, especially because your mom can't be here. And so it means a lot. You showed up without parents to talk about Young Scholars Academy, and I want to underscore that. Can I ask, has Young Scholars Academy made a larger change in your life? Have you noticed a difference since your time here than maybe life before YSA?
More classes.
Is that a good thing or bad thing? I don't know.
I mean, I think it's a good thing.
You enjoy them?
I found that I'm especially with D&D, I found because I'm doing D&D and talking with new people, I'm more social. And then AP psychology has helped a lot, not just being a class that I'm going to take, but actually using it in my everyday life, learning, especially since I have ADHD. So very helpful.
Yeah, I think applying these things, something that we talked about this week in AP psychology was we read that the write-up, the scenario, the case study of what happened with that student, and you were weighing in on using psychological principles on a real case study and saying you disagree with that for these reasons, and you were talking about executive function and all these things. I mean, it's absolutely amazing. So thank you so much, Ace. Thank you for being one of our amazing kiddos here, and thank you so much for coming tonight. I appreciate you sharing your story. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you, buddy. Okay, everyone, we are now going to keep it rocking. We're going to keep going. And a shout out to Sandy, who's our biggest cheerleader tonight, supporting everybody with a round of applause. Thank you, Sandy. We're going to keep it moving and go over now to our final cohort. We're almost through our classes, then we're going to go into our breakout sessions. So again, if you know someone who needs to be here, if you want to email someone or send the Zoom link to someone and say, hey, we're about to go into breakout rooms, this is an opportunity to connect with teachers. We're coming up on that moment, and I would just like to personally ask you to pass the Zoom around. We're going to now go over to our next section of courses, which is our STEAM courses. So I'd like to turn it over to Mr. Salch, who is going to be sharing robotics, engineering, AI, artificial intelligence, which we may have heard a thing or two about in the news lately, and coding. Mr. Salch, let me turn it over to you.
Okay, thanks. I appreciate that. And welcome, everybody. So STEAM. This is sort of where theory meets reality. I've been an engineer all my life, an engineer entrepreneurial type, and I've worked with a lot of engineers, a lot of very smart people, a lot of very capable people. One of the things that you notice is there's a real division between skills and understanding. So in my STEAM classes, I really try to focus on understanding what's going on, not just learning how to do things, how to push the right buttons and make cool stuff happen, but all of these classes are focused on what's happening under the cover and why. And what that does is give you the ability to recover from the unexpected. If you just learn skills and something unexpected happens, there's no path forward. So these classes are a little bit different in that they focus a lot more on understanding. We spend a little more time talking about why the light lit up than just how to make it light up. So that's one thing. The other thing is I've tried to design all these things around projects that are fun and exciting. And we keep changing this a little bit along the way. But it's important to get wins. When you're talking about STEAM, it can become boring because there are periods where you have to just do the work. But if you do that in the sense of, hey, this is really fun, like let's teach a robot to clean our room, then it becomes a little bit different. So I try to bring excitement in and early, often success. One of the things that really attracts people to the video games is the success, the hormone release. I did something. That's a good thing. There's nothing wrong with that. In real life, we want to do the same thing. We want to have these kids succeed in doing something with their own hands. So it's good that they struggle a little bit, and then all of a sudden it just works and they light up, and now we've got some excitement and it carries us forward. So that's a big part of it, having success along the way. The other thing that's a little unique, I heard somebody say it earlier, making classes individually focused and paced. That's hard. It is incredibly hard. But I think we've reached a point here at Young Scholars where we can say that we actually do this. I've got in a given class, it's not, let's all sit down and type this in the computer and build this thing. It's not like that. This is, here's a basic goal, and here's how stuff works. Go make something of it. And what we get back is all different answers, all different projects, all different approaches to the same thing. Some of them just blow me away. We've had some really interesting things, especially in this last semester. So I can say this is really a individually focused STEAM experience. The ones we talked about is robotics. That's one of the first ones. You build this little guy. There he is. Archie has his. I noticed not one time Archie's little friend was actually watching TV with you. That was very cute. This becomes the kid's friend. We spend a few weeks and they actually build this with their own hands, and then you learn how to make it do things. It's littered with sensors and stuff. This is a very capable robot at a very low price. So we do some fun stuff. And in the process, we learn true robotics. Like, for instance, what is a robot? One of the first things we learn takes three aspects. It has to have sensors to perceive the environment. It has to have the ability to think autonomously, make its own decisions based on the sensors, and then it has to have the ability to interact with the real world. Well, this little guy has all of these three, so this classifies as a real robot in every sense of the word. So that's a lot of fun. We do some fun things, and sometimes we go off script. That's okay. I don't mind going off script. There are so many things that you can do that, you know what, if the kids in the class are like, okay, I'm bored with this, then let's just throw it away and start something new. Or sometimes in some of the robotics class, I'll have 3 different projects going on all at the same time. And I'm really here just to kind of guide them along the way, but they're doing their own thing. Like one of the fun ones we did last time was get your robot to be a sensory robot. It would sit quietly, dark in the hallway, waiting for someone to walk by. And then when it did, it would scream, turn the lights on, race out, and try to hit you in the feet. And it actually worked. It actually worked. So fun stuff like that. The next one is engineering. This is one that's really near and dear to my heart because I've been an engineer forever. I built my first computer when I was like 12, and trust me, in the late 60s and early 70s, that was a very different thing than it is today. We're talking about wiring the little chips together, hundreds of wires, it was just incredible. So I've been doing this all my life. I've hired engineers, I've managed engineers, and I've been an engineer. So this course is not what you see on TV. This course is not, let's build this really cool thing and I'll tell you how it works. That's fine, but that's not engineering. Like I always tell my kids, engineers do not read the instructions because engineers write the instructions. And that's the focus of this, is how do we understand things and do things? It starts with, we have some electronic components for electronic engineering. You can't see because of the background. There you go. A collection of safe components where they're not going to blow things up if they make silly mistakes. And you build electronic circuits, but then you make them real. This is about reality. And I always tell them, your best resource is not the hobby store. It's your kitchen garbage can. Seriously. I mean, think about what's in your garbage can right now. You probably have water bottles and yogurt tubs and cereal boxes. All of those things are materials. So what we're talking about here is the creativity of how do you turn a cereal box into a remote control car with only 2 wheels and a flashlight. And it works. The kids always look at me funny like, Mr. Salch, you can't do a car with 2 wheels and you can't drive with a flashlight. And yet 3 weeks later, they are running their car around their house with a flashlight. That's the sort of stuff we do, just real things, build something. And everyone is unique. I've seen some projects as big as someone's bed. Seriously, the entire bed. Like you have to walk in the hallway to see this thing. And I've seen other ones that are really tiny. Everything in between. Some made out of Legos, some are cardboard, some are wood. I had one kid that did welding. That was interesting. When we got to build a catapult, a working catapult, it was interesting because he could use flaming projectiles. So I have a new rule, no flaming projectiles when we build the catapult. But it was really cool. I have a video. And then we go to coding. Coding is a very different kind of class. The goal of this coding class is not to build fun programs, not to learn how to build fun programs. It's to learn how to build real programs. Because what we do is we code for actual devices. The kids are building apps, games, and things that can run on your phone, on your tablet, and they're actually capable of being published so that the whole world can see. So if you've ever been interested in coding, actually making some money coding, you can do it. With the class that we do, with the software, the tools, you make an actual package, you put it on Google and Apple, and people can download it and use it. It's pretty cool. So this is a little different because it's focused on producing something real, not just something fun to play with, but actually real. Share it with your family, your friends, or the rest of the world if you so choose. And it's easy to do. We don't concentrate on a language. That always hangs people up. I don't know a language. Which language do you know? Don't worry about that. If you can do Legos, you can build this. It's that simple. We use a graphical language, object-oriented, and all you have to do is snap blocks together like Legos. So if you can do that, you're fine. You don't have to remember words and phrases and how stuff goes together. That stuff you can learn later. Let's build something real. So that's the coding club. And then the new one, AI, artificial intelligence. It's all over the world. AI, as of last year, it just took over the news. AI, this chat GPT and all the lookalikes now, there's dozens of them out there. There's a lot of interest in what is this? How does a computer think? Is it going to take over the world and we're going to end up in the Matrix? Well, not this year. But this class is about understanding what is AI. And we take 2 approaches. One is understanding how you train this thing to solve problems. And we do it hands-on. We use a website. Don't have to download anything for this. We go on a website, and the kids actually make simulations and learn how to design their AI brain. It's called a neural network, and how to make it do things. And we solve problems. Then we get down into the details. I have some free software that we use that actually builds artificial brains. And it can do an entire simulation of mice and cats and different things. And you're actually building the brains, the neurons, the nerves. You build them up from scratch. And it's pretty interesting because these kids, I teach at other schools. And when you teach this at other schools, you get back exactly what you asked for. Not so much here. Like, for instance, just last week, we built a mouse that could, real simple, follow the cheese. Well, before I know it, I have one of the kids asking me, what do you do when you scroll off the bottom? I'm like, how do you scroll off the bottom? They had created about 24 mice and about 400 pieces of cheese. And they were all in this world, and they put a cat in there, and it was all moving around and doing all this stuff. And they did this all on their own. I didn't tell them to do that. These kids just go with it. And that's what I like to inspire. I call it thinking outside the box. Don't do what you're told, do what needs to be done. And be creative. Think outside the box. Don't see what everybody else sees. See what's behind it. See what the options are, what the alternatives are. That's what this is all about. And AI is a lot of fun. You can do a lot of things with this software, and it teaches some good basic skills about how this works. So if you want any questions, if you want to know any more about any one of these things, I'll be in the breakout room, and Mr. Sam has promised me a full 10 minutes this time.
I promise, Mr. Salch. Thank you. Mr. Salch and I always say I try to make breakout rooms happen, and it's never enough for him. So I promised him double digits. We're going to have a good night tonight. Thank you so much. Again, that was robotics, where kiddos are building robots and coding them. We have engineering, where students are taking things out of their trash. Be careful. Building engineering projects that are completely unconventional. We have our coding class, where students are actually building their own apps, and we saw Archie demonstrate that last week. And then number 4, we have the AI class, where students are essentially building these sim brains and giving different tests and seeing the behind the scenes of what is a chat GPT and all of these things that we're reading about in the news. So 2 big trends there: authenticity and unconventional learning, right? Things that our kids actually care about. Rather than just having them remember answers, we're encouraging them to go out and find bigger problems and questions. And I absolutely love that trend in all of these classes. So thank you so much. I'm really excited to turn it over now from Mr. Salch over to Mr. Z, who is going to be sharing some new classes we have for you. We're continuing our Math for Life class, which has become one of our more popular ones this last semester, but we're also introducing cryptography and hacking, and we have a very new exciting one too, which is our game theory class. So Mr. Z, let me turn it over to you. Thank you.
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Sam. Yeah, I am really excited. I started 2 terms ago doing Math for Life, and that has been great. We've been doing a lot of statistics. We are coming back again with some more math. This time we're actually going into a different direction. We are actually going over to the land of geometry in this next term for winter only. So we're going to be looking at geometry from the age of Pythagoras all the way up to current stuff, and kind of finding all of those niches. Now, really what I like doing with mathematics, and I'm definitely a math junkie, is finding those pieces and kind of exploring mathematics and discovering it, because there's so much out there that these kids may not have seen how they work with it, what it does, where it comes from. And you don't have to be somebody that knows their math facts like, click in every second to do this. This is more by discovering where the math is coming from, what it's being used for. For example, today we were just talking in math class just before this, we were talking about actuarial tables and how all the math goes in that, and showing examples of what it works to. And there's a lot of very cool stuff that kids may not know about, and we like to kind of show them, hey, this is how the world works. Well, this is everything that goes on with it. So just to quickly introduce myself again, I am Mr. Z, or Eric, or hey you, don't be late to dinner, depending on what you want to say. I am surrounded by a family of 2E kids, and I've been homeschooling them and doing other things with them for quite some time. So I am kind of used to everybody being slightly off in their own direction and getting them back together to talk about something and watching them all go off in their own direction at the same time again. But it is kind of the fun of dealing with 2E students that, hey, they can be looking at something completely different. And when you say, hey, well, what about this? And then give you a full answer to it without even shaking a beat. I'm still amazed by that ability to do it. So really, again, like I said, what I'm trying to do is get math out to the masses to show that math is not something to be afraid of. It's interesting. There's a lot of really just amazing pieces that come about with it. So I've got 3 offerings that we're doing in this next semester. The first one is, again, our Math for Life course. It originally was going to be more a statistics bent, but I was talking to Mr. Sam and we're like, there's so many other things that we can do too with this. So we're trying to encompass some geometry. We're going to be going some algebra when we get around springtime, but it's just finding all those niches in there that where, hey, we can find this and look at this and see, hey, what does this do? How does it work? How do we figure it out? And who even works on it? What's the history to it? Sometimes we go back and look at the history going on. So geometry is by far my favorite subject to teach. I used to be a high school teacher, and it was just my favorite subject. So I am so excited coming up to this. But now, not only do I have math and stats and well, math for life in this case and going over to geometry, but I get 2 of my other favorite subjects to teach. One of which is cryptography. That's like encoding and decoding messages and moving everything around and data security and everything like this. And this is coming from a man who, as a boy, would read the very large books of all the cryptographic algorithms and how all of them worked and what went into it. And the math is really, really interesting behind it. And the history is actually just as interesting behind it. So this first section is going to be kind of a combination mathematics and history class because we are going to go back to the time of Caesar and his cryptographic algorithms that he used all the way up through history till we get towards the Enigma machine. And we are going to probably spend a while on the Enigma machine and on my favorite mathematician of that age, which was definitely Alan Turing, and who did really amazing works with this. And so we're going to be talking about him and really going into how this worked. What was the math behind it? How did it all piece together? How did the Allies crack the code and make the difference? And it's a really wonderful story going through. But we'll be looking at all of the techniques of encryption and decryption as we go into it. Later on in later semesters, we're going to go as far as looking at current grade crypto algorithms and public keys and circles of trust. And there's so much to go into it. So we're going to have a lot of fun going into there. Also, I will be teaching game theory. Now, game theory is another one that, as an avid not DVD, D&D player, game player, video game player, all of these things, game theory connects into all of this. It also connects into psychology, sociology. I mean, there's a far range of subjects. It is figuring out problems on how do we work with opponents or with even people that we trust and are cooperating with? How do we cooperate best? How do we make choices that are best for everyone? A lot of parents here, you might have heard of the prisoner's dilemma. That's a very classic game theory. Do I say something? Do I not? Do I confess? Do I run away? Do I stay silent? There's math to that. There's theories on how to work on it. I'll bring up one other name drop, Nash, the Nash equilibrium. If you ever saw the movie A Beautiful Mind, great example of that. There's so much math involved with figuring out that being altruistic and working together is usually mathematically the best option. And so that's what we're going to be talking about in game theory is we're going to be going over the math of it on how it works out and how we can make decisions. And I really love that course because it teaches everybody to look at all of the options and to see everything through the eyes of everybody else they're working with, because that's really how you get it, is understanding, okay, if I make this choice and they make this choice, how is it going to work out? How can we make choices, maybe not even communicating with each other, that's going to work out best for each other? And so it's a very powerful subject to go into. So yeah, I mean, I love working with these kids. This is by far the most fun that I've had teaching online ever, is just dealing with the kids here. I'm always looking forward to whatever time I'm teaching. So I'm hoping to keep this up and find a lot more things that you and your kids will find super interesting, and will show you that there's a lot of fun to be had in math, more than just 2 + 2.
Thank you so much, Mr. Z, and truly grateful for these. I mean, again, when we think about what our kids are already doing on their own, right? A lot of the times it's these things, it's game theory, it's hacking, it's figuring out codes and breaking codes, right? And so we always think, why not just have that be a class? Like, why not take the things that our kids are doing and instead of stuffing them around dark corners and making them do this after hours, why not bring it out into the light, bring a mentor around, and bring kids together who are similar. And so cryptography, looking at the history of codes. And by the way, I think the kids are going to be making their own codes, right?
Yep, they are at some point.
Having that, being able to go into game theory and level up their D&D, or if it's, playing cards or whatever it might be, just figuring out the systems that are behind the games. Our kids crave that complexity. And then having things like math for life and looking at, we've in the stats part, we've been talking about, insurance and why certain people are insured and why they cost more and the numbers behind that and who's at risk and things like that. And I just think like applied math, authentic math and statistics are so brilliant. And thank you so much for bringing those to our community.
Thank you.
Okay, we are going to go from the amazing Mr. Z over to Miss Alex. I just got a message that Mr. Mark couldn't make it. So we're going to jump one person, Alex. I hope that's okay with you, and turn it over to you. So Miss Alex is, as you know, a staple here now at Young Scholars Academy. And Miss Alex has our mythology class and our kinder STEAM class, our STEAM lab class. So super excited about this. Let me turn it over to you, Miss Alex.
Thanks, Mr. Sam. All right, so coming up for the next semester, we are going to continue our Mythical Beasts class and our STEAM class. So both of those classes, even though we run them in modules, you can come in or out anytime you want to. I just saw a friendly face. Even though you can join or leave at any point, they do all connect without repeating any of the creatures. So, we're basically doing 8 creatures each section in the mythical creatures class, and then 8 different STEAM topics. So I'll talk about the creatures class first and then the STEAM class second. So the mythical creatures class is secretly a STEM class, and it's also a social studies class. We look at a new creature of the week, and we talk about its history. We talk about a lot of the sciencey reasons about why we came up with the idea of that creature in the first place. And then we usually play some fun games. This is the 5 to 8 categories. So we keep it pretty fun and upbeat. We keep class moving. We do some sharing. Everybody gets to bring some special things to talk about, which honestly, they could do the whole class if we let them, and then some. So we do some sharing. Then we do a nice deep dive into our creature. I usually have some supplementary stories, or I have some really cool textbooks with a lot of great pictures in them. So we take a look at those. And of course, we do a lot of discussion. So it's mostly me asking the students to tell me what they already know, which if you've met any of these kids, you already know the answer. It's everything. They know everything about it. If we had enough time, we could just stay there all day sharing our cool stuff, and they could tell me everything that they know about everything. But every now and then I sneak in a couple of new tidbits for them just to kind of round it out. And then we do have a journal that we keep each week. So it's a field guide. So we're collecting creatures for our field guide. And I'm just going to hold it up really quick. This is one of the ones that we did this module that was particularly fun and exciting. So we did do werewolves because it was around Halloween time. So we learned a little bit about the history of werewolves, how these legends began. But then the really fun part is that we step by step transformed our person, which incidentally, I did find a person that we used on the screen as we kind of went through the stages of turning into a werewolf. And it did look an awful lot like Mr. Sam. So we called him Mr. Sam, and we turned Mr. Sam into a werewolf, and everybody's pictures were so awesome. It was like literally the best, the hairiest, craziest Mr. Sam werewolves that you can imagine. So we had a really good time with that. We do a new entry at the end of each class, and the kids have a really good time showing me what they've come up with during class. So that's mythology. And again, we have 8 new creatures coming up in the next section. So anyone who's in that class now is encouraged to come on back and do 8 more with us. And if you've never been in the class math before, or if you have littles who are thinking about it, it's a very approachable class. You know, we never get too heavy, but it's just really interesting. And they love learning about these cool, you know, unicorns and dragons. I mean, who doesn't? So that's that class. The other class is my STEAM class, and the STEAM class is it's called STEAM Lab Discovery Quest. So we go on a journey. We keep a passport. Every week we add a new topic to our passport, and we're not going in any particular order. What we're doing is we're cherry picking really interesting topics that kind of spread themselves out through science, technology, engineering. We always have some sort of art or math element mixed in there. And, you know, one week we might be doing something with chemistry. Another week it might just be a dive into a cool physics concept. There's a lot of hands-on activities, a lot of, again, open-ended questions, asking the kids to share what they already know, and then just really doing something that's going to demonstrate the concept that we're exploring. For example, we just did, well, Mr. Sam, you'll love to hear this. We just did the rocks. So one week we we did a geology unit where we were all rock hounds, and we learned a little bit about different types of rocks. But then I also had like the YouTube kids unboxing videos that, you know, kids love to watch. So we basically everybody took a turn and picked a spot where we were digging, and we unboxed a different kind of rock, and we charted them. We drew pictures of how they looked, and then we talked about what kind of rock it might be and read a little description. So that was a really fun class. That's the kind of thing that we do. But again, it's something completely different each week, which keeps it fresh and exciting and interesting for the kids to wonder, wow, what like cool concept, what cool sciencey thing are we going to do this week? So that's, and again, that will repeat with new topics all year long. So you can come back and do another 8 totally different things, and then come back and do another 8 totally different things. So that's the 2 classes. A little tiny bit about me is that well, you can probably tell by how fast I'm talking. I'm also neurodivergent, and and I grew up in an amazing gifted program. I was very lucky. You know, there wasn't really homeschooling for the masses back then. So I went to a school that, thank goodness, had a program where it was a pullout, and we got to go and be with our people for like a whole day in a totally separate building once a week. It was phenomenal. And to me, that's what YSA makes me think of. You know, it's that kind of space where we're getting together with kids who think like us, who want to deep dive like us, we're passionate. And it's just so fun to see all of their different ideas and the different ways they approach it. They're always challenging me. I always leave class saying, okay, how can I better serve these kids? Like, they're always throwing up new things for me to have to think about. And I just really enjoy that. And I'm coming to it from a place of, you know, this is me. These kids are me. I get to now, you know, pass on the things that I've learned to enjoy and love about myself. And now it's so cool to be able to nurture those things in the kids that are in my classroom. So, is that everything I was supposed to say? Yes, I did it. All right.
You rocked it. Pun intended. Pun intended. Yeah. I get emails all the time from parents who are saying, like, I didn't know that it was possible to have online classes that are like disengaging. Like Miss Alex is the rock lesson she's talking about. Literally, like, it's an overhead camera, and she's got like a kind of like an egg carton, and she's going in, and the kids have to identify what's going on, and then they're getting stuff emailed home, that they're getting these passports and drawing books, and I mean, it is just incredible. You did not know this was possible with classes online, and it is, and we're doing it here in all of our classes. So big thank you to Miss Alex. You are a rock star. Okay, we're going to hear from one more amazing parent, and then we're going to go into our breakout sessions. So I know many people have messaged me and said they've had to leave because it's quite late. We're going to just talk to one more parent for about 3 minutes. We're going to open our breakout rooms for about 10, as I promised Mr. Salch. Teachers, if you don't have someone come and visit you, just hang tight, because someone else might. So they might bounce around. So Jaun, I would love to invite you to come on and share with us for a moment if you're there. This is Diane's mom. Was going to come and share, but maybe, oh, there you are.
Hello.
Oh, hello. Thank you so
Hi,
much.
can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you perfectly.
Hey, I look ugly, so I don't feel like, turning on my camera, but I'm here.
Well,
Um,
I appreciate you showing
and
up however
first
you
of
want.
all,
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
no problem. So first of all, thank you. Thank you, YSA team, for offering awesome sessions for neurodivergent kids like my daughter. And I'm happy to share my experience with you tonight. I'm so, so happy, emotionally, so overwhelmed. For your information, my daughter is 15, soon to be 16, and recently diagnosed with ADHD this April. She's currently taking homeroom class, D&D, and executive function skill class with Mr. Sam this fall for the first time. As a lot of newly diagnosed families, I felt lost and I didn't know what to do to support my daughter. And I wasn't sure in the beginning, to be honest with you, if she will like the classes or not, right? Because I'm paying a lot. Come on. But it is proved that she loves all the classes so far, because when I asked her if she wanted to do it again in the winter, she immediately says yes to all of the classes, and she asked more actually. She's not here with me right now because she is in her favorite class right now, which is D&D. So I'm here though.
Thank you so much, Joan. I appreciate that. And again, a lot of families, I think you said something that is so important, is a lot of families get a diagnosis and then they say, now what? What do we do now? And to have you find our community is great. But more importantly, I think to have your daughter find a place that she wants to be a part of and be more and more involved in, I think is just so brilliant. So thank you so much for sharing
Yes.
that.
Hey, Mr. Sam, even though she's not here, she gave me her speech answering to all those three questions gave me in advance. So if you're okay, then I want to
Please.
share if you
I
want to
would love
ask
to hear that.
three questions. You want me to repeat the question and answer?
So you can just read whatever
Or
she
you're
was.
gonna
Happy with that.
Okay, so the first the question that Mr. Sam challenged us was what was life before YSA? And here's her answer. She says, it was lonely before. There was no one that I could really bond with here. It's nice to find others with similar struggles or likes as me with these classes. It's a change that I welcome. So that was her first answer. Second one that Mr. Sam asked me in advance was how YSA has positively impacted your family. Here's her answer. YSA really gave me a chance to interact with people around my age, and as well as allowing me to bond with people who are also neurodivergent. I think it makes my family happy that I can just be myself. I cried in this section when she said, just be myself. And then last one is is there any standout moments in class, at home, in a talk, etc.? And here's her answer. She said, I like that the teachers are just fine with my ramblings. I say some weird things. And I was like, remember that right after D&D class, she told me, Mom, I just killed monsters with tuberculosis. I like it. And I'm like dying. And I'm like so happy, crying, like bursting in tears of joy that, oh my gosh, she likes it. And I feel so comfortable watching my daughter having interaction with, her peer, her tribe in a safe environment. It's just I'm sorry, I'm getting emotional. It's my eyes like opening experience.
I mean, you didn't even turn your camera on, and I'm crying. That was
I'm crying. Seriously, I'm crying, Mr. Sam.
giving you an
What can I
emotional
say?
hug right now. That was beautiful.
Yeah,
But
I wanna be honest with you. I have bills to pay next month because I just registered her, bunch of classes for winter, but I'll worry about it later. It's just worth it.
I so appreciate you sharing your kiddo with us and the privilege to work with her. And I see in class, I know other teachers do too, the difference. When I asked everybody, I said, someone was sick, who should I have come? Everybody that teaches Diane said Diane. And the reason is because not only is she just amazing, but we've seen the growth in her. We've seen her open, we've seen her take risks, we've seen her share herself. And it's just such a beautiful thing. And I'm fortunate to say that we see this all the time with our kids. So thank you so much, Joan, for being here and speaking on behalf of you and speaking on behalf of Diane. We're so lucky to have you.
No problem. Thank you.
Thank you. So everyone, that was beautiful. I'm a bit dysregulated now. I'm going to, as I promised, open up our breakout sessions here. Miss Anna, if you could launch our breakout rooms. A lot tonight. So I hope that you're all feeling really excited about all these opportunities. I know that it can be like this. It can be like drinking out of a fire hose, right? We learn a lot at these sessions. There's so much that's crammed into an hour and, well, 2 hours now. Hearing from all 14 different teachers, hearing from 4 different families, going into breakout rooms, tears, goosebumps, the whole nine. It's a lot. So I would just like to kind of reframe it all and bring us to a close. In summary, our kiddos are often struggling because of the setting that they're in, right? It's not them. They're brilliant. They have incredible strengths and superpowers, and we just need to simply take them out of their zone of inadequacy and put them in their zone of genius. And that's happening here. It's happening when they're with the right audience. It's happening when they are with the right mentors. And this is the perfect time. We're getting into 2024, and this is, I think, the most important time to make this decision, to start the new year off with strength, to find classes, to find community, to find mentors, and to find the village that you belong to. So let me just say that this is the perfect time to do so. Also, it's another great time for one reason, is that we have the most aggressive early bird special that we've ever had that ends Friday night. So we're doing 15% off, and that's even if you get the 24-week courses. So it's sometimes the savings are up to $300 even, because it's paying for all the rest of the school year through the end of June and saving 15% right now. So that's a massive discount. And we're doing that even for people who pay monthly. So we've broken it down into 6 months payments and so forth. So let me just recap. I want to say, if you took a moment and you knew that you could have like everything that you saw tonight, if you could have the experiences that the families talked about, if you could have the mentoring that you saw teachers talk about, and you could be a part of this group, I want to ask, like, what would that be worth to you? What would that sense of safety and security that you heard, especially in Jaun at the bottom, of knowing, her daughter got a diagnosis and then found a place to belong? And I want to say that you're going to get all of this amazing stuff when you do join us. The amazing Sophia Elliott, who's actually here right now. I feel a little weird talking about you while you're here, but Sophia's going to come and talk to our families. If you haven't heard Sophia's Our Gifted Kids podcast, it's one of the most famous podcasts and one of the most listened to and downloaded podcasts in the neurodiversity space. She is going to be talking to our families. We're going to have a live question and answer with Dr. Liz Agnoff, who is famous from, maybe some of you saw her at TIFOS. We have a recording of what was been called the greatest Young Scholars Academy expert talk so far. No pressure, anyone else. But when Julie Skolnick came recently and shared her book with us, and we have a recording of that session, we're going to be sharing that with you. We have a guaranteed sit-down seat here as well. Dr. Mike and Julie, Postma, are from Gifted and Thriving, are going to be joining us. You're also going to get that homeroom social club I mentioned before. When you enroll in 2 classes, you also get that free extra class. We just simply refund you. And I also have a little resource for everyone, which is a priority planner. A lot of our kids struggle with executive function, and this is a great resource. So this is almost $1,000 in bonuses that we're giving you just for joining our community, because we believe in that word, that C word, that community, and we believe in giving. So we want this to be a place that you find as your second home. We want it to be a place that you belong, and we want it to be a place where your child and you witness and experience regular successes. So I'd like to personally invite you to come in, to take my hand, to join us, to be a part of this virtual village. And I'd like to just show you one last testimonial, which I often like to end on. And of course, my computer's frozen because my computer's tired too. What is going on here, Mr. Computer? Here we go. I'd like to share this. I think this is something that really resonates with what Jaun said earlier. And it's this is an email from a parent from about a year ago. And she said, Sam, my kid, blanked out his name, found someone he has common interest with for the first time in his life. I want to underscore that. They talked about the blackest black paint, which is featured on some YouTube channel, and they apparently both love. He is so giddy. He's running around and smiling. I can't believe he found 2 friends in this class. So here's a kiddo who came into Young Scholars Academy and I identified publicly that he never had a friend before and left one class having 2. That's Miss Anna's social club, by the way. So this is the kind of stuff you heard from all these families tonight. This is the kind of stuff that's happening here on the weekly. And this is one of those things that is just a regular part of our community. So again, let me wrap up and just say, you deserve all of this. I want you to have all of this. I want you to start 2024 with strengths. And I cannot wait to be a part of that transformation and to have you join our community and watch your kiddo thrive. So I am wishing you all the best. I want to remind you again, this all increases in price on Friday at midnight. So please don't delay. We've had almost 100 enrollments, which is our record. Last semester, we had 200 kids total. Now we already have 100 students signed up in just 48 hours. So clearly the word is getting out, and I want to make sure everybody here gets a spot while they're still available, and also make sure that you can save some money while you're at it. So I appreciate you all so very much. I cannot wait to serve your family at the highest level, and I hope that you keep thriving, and I'll see you very soon in our upcoming classes. Thank you, everyone. Appreciate you. All my love.